Quick video. The February edition of Radio User Magazine arrived through my letterbox a couple of days ago, and it reminded me that part 2 of my kind of DXing on the move series appears in this edition. Part 1, which was DXing on foot, has already been published. I know that some of you guys have already seen it because I did a quick video review on that. In the February edition is part 2, so this is basically going out on a DXpedition in a vehicle, something that I've done, as you know, a lot. It involves basically parking up and using the radio from a car, or if you want to get a bit more adventurous, sitting in the car but deploying an antenna outside of the car. And I've done that with long wires, magnetic loops, E-field antennas, and basically every type of antenna I've got, I think I've used from a car at one point or another. In fact, from the car park of Wembley Stadium, I've used the Wellbrook magnetic loop and received some of the best HF signals from Africa that I'd ever heard, in the most unlikely of places. So, but also in this edition, there's some good stuff. There's a full review. Tim Kirby reviews the SDR Play RSPDX, and as you guys know, I've had a bit of experience with that receiver now. I'm currently publishing comparison videos with the ELAD FDM Duo, and that's obviously interesting because what it appears we have is very, very similar performance, but a kind of factor of 4 difference in price. It just makes the RSPDX look such good value for money. There's a construction special on antennas, and there's a profile of the air traffic controller at Heathrow Airport, which is actually where I'm going to be on Tuesday, because I've got to go to Zurich for a business meeting. So I'll be at Heathrow in the morning on Tuesday morning. They've got a review of the Moonraker Minor 2 Plus CB. It's quite good that that CB is still going. When I was a teenager, I had a Fidelity 1000 and a Thunderpole, and I was only looking a few days ago, and Thunderpole antennas are still being manufactured as far as I can make out, so it's good. So there's the usual other stuff. Actually, also, there's a first look at the new AOR AR5700D. It's a new digital communications receiver, and I quite like the look of this. Kind of like a bit of an 80s/90s kind of vibe going on in terms of like the industrial engineering or the styling of it. And I quite like the look of that radio, and as it's AOR, you know it's going to be good. So just quickly, we just have a quick look. So this is my article, DXing on the Move Part 2, just looking at locations and equipment that you need to conduct a successful DXpedition from a car. I mean, the benefit of using the car is that, in winter, if you go out on foot listening to the radio, in December or January, it's fun for about an hour, and then you're freezing and your fingers aren't moving, and it's just ridiculous. Whereas from a car, it takes a lot longer to get cold. You can't really have the engine running, but if you do get cold, you can start the engine, warm the place up, and then switch off and carry on. And DXing in the early hours of the morning in winter, for me, you've got to do it from a car, unless you're prepared to go out on an Arctic an expedition, prepared for Arctic conditions, which I'm not. The other benefit of DXing from a car is that you can use larger portables. So, for example, the Sony ICF 2001D, I mean, I have taken it out on foot, but that's a much easier radio to use from a car. You can use SDRs. I've used my ELAD FDM Duo and at least one of my SDR Play SDR receivers from a car. It's just easier because you can actually set the thing up, have it all connected together on the passenger seat or on the front seat passenger side, and go for it. So there you go. And as the other, I mean, in general terms, getting outdoors, we all know the benefits of that. And if you're someone that's using a Bonnie whip or an MA305 FT, any E-field antenna, if you get it out of the kind of ubiquitous electrosmog that drowns everything at home, this Bonnie whip will perform as well as a Wellbrook loop, and I know because I've tested it. I've compared both side by side out in the field, and it still works if you're sat in a car and those two antennas are connected via coaxial cables into your radios. So yeah, there's just so many benefits to DXing outdoors. So there you go. So that's my latest article. There is a part 3 to this series, and that covers DXpedition, sort of an international sort of DXpedition. Now, I don't do that per se. I go on business trips, as that's part of my job, and I use those trips as, you know, an opportunity to DX from different geographical locations around the world. And as you guys know, I've been to Brazil several times and all over Europe, United States, etc. Last year I was in California, and for the first time copied Trans-Pacific medium wave signals, and I was also in Texas, and you know, you've seen the results of those two business trips. I'm going to Zurich, as I said, on Tuesday, but I'm not taking a radio with me because I won't be there long enough. But there's 2 trips to the United States coming up, and so I'll be doing exactly the same thing. So that's the next article in the series, the final article. As I said, for the February edition of the magazine, it's DXing from a car. But other than that, this is the Tim's full review of the RSP DX. But beyond that, like I said, we're quite fortunate to have a magazine, you know, that is published hard copy print in support of the hobby. And my personal opinion, is that anyone involved in our hobby should buy a copy. Actually, should buy a subscription, because it'd be rude not to. Well, I hope that was interesting at least. Thanks for watching.